Hello and welcome. I'm Trish Rock and this is Peaceful Soul Expansion. And today I want to talk about why peace matters when you are expanding and why peace is the key to everything that you want. And it is the key. And this is something that I've discovered over the past decade or more. And something, I guess, probably 15 years ago that I would have said to you, peace makes no difference. I'm just going to move forward, push through it, do. I'm just going to bypass anything that feels out of alignment. I'm just going to keep on pushing through. But the energies of this planet have changed. They're different. We're all rising in frequency, and that pushing through, what will I call it? Way, habit that so many of us are used to is just not working anymore. Or if it is working for you in your life, it may not feel as joyful. When we're not at peace with who we are, where we've been, and where we're going, it's tricky to manifest or to bring in to your life what it is that you want to create. So let me give you an example. So let's say you have had a couple of bad relationships, right? And perhaps it's a recurring theme, right, in why these relationships break up. But, you keep attracting the same relationship. How can you make the next one different? Well, you need to make peace and have acceptance for those ones from the past. Because when you do, you're not in an anxious or angry or blaming or resentful state, if that makes sense. So you could be out there looking and bringing in and manifesting your next relationship. But on the inside, with that voice on the inside, it's telling a story of, this never works out, I always attract the same person, look at that last one did to me, blah, 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 right? And you're reliving the sadness, the hurt, the could be anger, resentment, blame. But there's also a part of you that's blaming yourself. It's like, why do I keep attracting this? Why does this keep happening to me? And because that voice is strong on the inside, you may not be saying it, out loud, but it's there. It's the story that's going on. That is exactly what you're going to attract again. Why? Because the stories we tell are always being proven to be true. That's what happens. We're creators, right? You've got a story going on. Doesn't matter if you've got a different story coming out of your mind and your mouth. You're not going to be able to manifest that when there's an inner story, an inner dialogue calling the shots. So to really find peace and acceptance with everything in the past up till now clears you of all of that, right? It clears that voice. It clears those old stories. And that's the same with any area of life that you have not found peace with. If you're trying to move forward from something and you haven't found peace with it or acceptance, then it keeps getting recreated. Now, finding peace and acceptance with something, you know, often people, and it involves forgiveness. And now often people immediately say, well, I'm not going to forgive so-and-so because they did the wrong thing. I'm not going to accept what they did. And you don't have to. It's not about saying the other person was right or, you know, accepting anything that they did. It's about finding the acceptance within you, right? It's about finding the acceptance within you. So, for instance, you can say, you know what, that relationship didn't work. How can I find peace with that? Well, I remember all the beautiful things about that relationship as well. And I felt this and, you know, this happened and we had this great experience. And I'm so grateful for all of that. So it was definitely a period of my life that had to happen to shape me into the person I am now. And so with conversations and journaling around this, you can really find full acceptance for those things that you are still not at peace with. And when you're at peace with them, when you're at peace with everything that happened, knowing that it was just the next step, the next step, the next step to get you here, then what you're creating in your next step from here isn't tarnished with any of those old emotions, right? You can take your next steps from here with, what would I like to bring into my life now? And then that story of what you're wanting to bring into your life is not tarnished by the old story that's running underneath, right? Of blame and resentment, regret, guilt, shame, any of those things. Now, what's the best way to find peace and acceptance? Well, I find that forgiveness is the key here. Forgiveness is the key. And it's not condoning any behaviors. It's simply forgiving and moving forward, forgiving and letting go. And you know, that is very hard for a lot of people, but forgiveness is freedom. Forgiveness for yourself, forgiveness for all of the situations. And if there's a tricky situation that, you know, of course you're not going to be able to forgive someone because of something that, you know, was awful, that is unforgivable, then you can do an overall forgiveness of, you know what, I forgive myself and that experience, and I now find peace with it. And I'm going to move forward. Now, some of the bigger experiences that trigger you may take a few of those, more than a few. Probably need to journal that every day. But what I find is really great, and what I get my clients to do, this is step 2 of my peace process, which you'll find the link below. What I get my clients to do in this step is have a forgiveness journal separate to their normal journal, or at the back of their normal journal, start at the back and write a forgiveness journal. And all you do is either enter into it each day, or at the end of the day, or the beginning, whenever you have time, just write down a few things. And the sentences should be something like, I now forgive my father for abandoning me because I am ready to find peace with it, right? Or it could be, I now forgive my parents for ... fill in the dots. I know they were doing the best they knew how, right? So what you're doing is, and there could be, just let me give you another example that's maybe not so specific, because sometimes it is hard to be specific when you're still holding a lot of emotions about something. So you could say, I now forgive this situation that happened to me when I was ... I understand it wasn't my fault. I now choose to be at peace and move forward. Like something like that. So the statements that you're writing are, I now forgive person, situation, myself. I now forgive myself for being nasty to, or saying something mean to blah, blah, blah. I truly didn't mean it, or I wasn't in my right mind, or, you know, don't make excuses for yourself, but truly forgive yourself for doing that, because sometimes we can beat up on ourselves as well, right? For days. Why did I say that mean thing to that person? And you could be beating yourself up in your mind for weeks, right? So just get it out on paper, forgive yourself, move on, right? That's what finding peace is. And so you'll find that sometimes the same statements will come up because there are situations that will trigger you. There was a situation back in 2014 that really triggered me for a good 10 years, and even now it can bring up some stuff. And so, you know, forgiveness statements about that situation were coming up daily for me. And eventually it lost its sting, right? Eventually I became more peaceful about it, yeah? So start writing something, and whatever comes up. And sometimes when you first start that journal of really finding that peace with life and that acceptance with everything up until now, they'll come out easily, because you'll have some things already, you know, on your heart that just want to pour out, right? I forgive myself for this. I forgive this situation. I forgive this person now. I'm done and ready to move on. I forgive this now, and I forgive that. Not condoning anything. Forgiveness is your freedom. It's got nothing to do with anyone else. So a few things will start to come out straight away. And then as the days go on, you might just be triggered during the day with a memory of something, or, you know, the experience of something the same that you're still getting memories from and getting triggered from, and not finding peace with. So they're the things that you would write down every day. But I find it really helps. And, you know, peace really is the key to everything you want, because when you are feeling peaceful and calm, you are in the flow of life. You are in trust. You are in abundance. You are in that beautiful energy of, I feel so peaceful right now. I'm just going to allow these things to flow into my life, rather than, I had this experience 10 years ago and I don't want it to happen again. So I need to be vigilant with how I feel, right? That is not going to bring you into your life what it is that you desire, because you're just blocking it the whole way. So finding peace with yourself, with your past. And I also want to mention finding peace with your future, because a lot of people sit in anxiety and fear of their future. I know I do that. And when you can really find peace with the present moment, you tend not to project into the future so much. And it's certainly good to have those visions and that imagination about the future without expectation. So being able to let go, detachment, the law of detachment, comes from feeling peaceful about where you are now, where you've been, where you're going. So I hope something in that has inspired you and maybe given you an idea about how you could move forward right now. And you could certainly come and work with me and find clarity together. You'll find all the links of my courses and sessions down below. And thank you for coming along. See you next time.